So now I'm honored to bring on our next guest, Charles Johnson, president and founder of For Cure for Moms Incorporated. Charles, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yeah, glad you got a chance to get a shout out, and same to you. We were talking before the show. I've been asking fathers what they want to do to celebrate Father's Day, and your response is
Just getting a little bit of rest, man. Getting a little bit of rest, spending some time with my boys. Uh, that'll be an amazing day. Working some good food in there somewhere. Absolutely phenomenal.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, I hope that happens for you because it sounds like you have been really busy talking about Black maternal health on and your organization addresses that. Give us some background on For Cure for Kids.
Yeah, so For Cure for Moms is an organization that I founded after my wife Cure passed away.
Some background noise here, but go ahead.
Okay, all right. For Cure for Moms is an organization that we founded after my wife passed away, giving birth to our second son, Langston, in 2016. And what I didn't understand at the time was that I really thought that what happened to my wife, I thought she was an anomaly. I thought that a woman in America who had access to healthcare, who did everything right, who was healthy, the thought that she would walk into a hospital and not walk out to raise her sons had never crossed my mind. But as the weeks, went by, I began to hear stories of other families that had experienced horrific birthing experiences, in other families that had experienced obstetric violence, and then some other mothers that had made that ultimate sacrifice and had lost their lives just trying to give the gift of life. And so two things immediately. I was shocked that, one, how is this happening? And how is it that not everybody is outraged by this? And so I didn't know what I could do, but I felt like I had to do something to try and make an impact. And so we founded this organization with the distinct mission to put an end to the maternal mortality crisis. And so that's what we do every single day. We arm families with the tools and resources they need to better navigate their birthing experience. We also work from a legislative standpoint in pushing forward policy that will make our country a better, safer place for mothers and babies.
I'm glad to have you here and to have this conversation. I apologize for misnaming the organization For Cure for Moms. And not too long ago, I watched, I believe it's a YouTube video about some fathers, I think in New York City. It was a documentary about a movement there. One, they had some fathers, a round table of dads talking about their loss, and also trying to navigate parenthood at that time when it's really it's an emotional situation that you found yourself in. Talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind, Charles. I mean, we celebrate so many women. First of all, have difficulty conceiving, and then once you do, you're thinking that you're planning that big day.
Yeah.
Right? Some people plan so much that they've got it really narrowed down to the day and time, but and then something happens. I mean, how did you kind of get through that?
Yeah, so I'll kind of talk about that from my perspective, and I'll kind of talk about that in a contemporary standpoint about what's going on right now that we should all be aware of and a little bit concerned about. So for me, yeah, I never saw this as the way my life would pan out, right? I really thought that we would build this amazing life together, raise these two beautiful boys, and, travel the world and do all the things, right? I really thought that I had found my person, right? And so when my life was turned upside down, I really, I tell people unapologetically, right? Like, my kids saved my life. My boys saved my life. And so I was able to pour myself into them, into doing my best to ensure that, that they still had, even though their mother was not here in the physical sense, that they still had the amazing life that we had planned for them. And that's the first thing. But here's the thing I want people to understand when we talk about this issue and what's going on right now, we should all be very concerned about. Right now, I know a lot of you all are probably aware of what's going on with this big, beautiful bill. Um, skies within Trump's current proposal, or the Republicans' current proposal, is a bill that is going to literally gut Medicare and Medicaid for United States citizens. And so, right now in the United States, we are the most dangerous country in the world for a woman to give birth in. And if we look deeper, African American women are 4 to 5 times more likely to die giving birth. So, knowing this, the Trump administration is contradicting itself because it's saying, hey, we want more babies, we want a baby boom, we want this, that, and the third. But you're taking away some fundamental women's reproductive health rights. So you are going to encourage women and try to incentivize them to give birth into a system that is inherently dangerous, right? Not just for Black women, for all women. So right now, knowing that 45% of the births in the United States are funded by Medicaid, we've got some work to do. And so I encourage everybody that's listening to this show to call your local representative, call the Trump administration, and demand that as they move forward with this big, beautiful bill, that they protect these services. And also included in that bill are critical things like care for, people with special needs. If you have a parent that is on government assistance, they're likely to be affected as well. So we need to be in tune with that. I know we got some more background noise, it sounds like.
Yeah. What you took some fathers to Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Was this last week?
Yeah. Literally, we were there yesterday. So over the past 2 days, so this week, brought together a group of fathers from all over the country, and we decided that there's no better way for us to celebrate Father's Day than fighting for our families. And so we went to Capitol Hill in support of legislation that will improve the safety and quality of outcomes for mothers and babies in our country. And so we spent an amazing couple of days, met with senators and congressional representatives from both sides of the aisle. And I was really proud of these fathers, how they showed up, how they shared their stories, the work that they're doing. And I really feel that we made an impact.
Do you have any, what was the feedback?
Yeah, the feedback was amazing. We heard time and time again from these congressional offices. These are, people, senators and staffers that meet with literally thousands of groups a year. And they said they'd never seen a group like this that was specifically curated of fathers. The majority of, although we had some Caucasian brothers join us, the majority of our dads were Black and African American, here's the thing. If you're in the Black community and you spend time with Black fathers, you know the truth about Black fatherhood. The Black fatherhood is that we show up, that we actually are more present than any other race. But oftentimes the narrative is not that. And so we were just really proud to do what I call a lot of narrative correcting. Even though we know the truth, it's important that the world understands the truth about fathers, and particularly Black fathers. And we also understand, when we talk specifically about maternal health and addressing, really helping fathers understand their role in this fight. We're working to empower dads. We have a bill called the Dads Matter Act that will help to educate and inform fathers with the tools they need. And because we find is that men want to be there, men want to show up. We just need to give them the tools and the resources so that they can be optimized. They can have the knowledge, understand what questions to ask, how to advocate, how to be supportive. And what I also talk a lot about, and I talk to these congressional representatives about, is the return on investment, or the ROI, when you invest in fathers, right? So a lot of the issues that plague communities, when we talk about unemployment, when we talk about domestic violence, we talk about preterm labor, all these issues can be increasingly significantly impacted with the father being present with the correct tools, right? We reduce divorce rates, we reduce domestic violence, we improve the mother's mental health, right? We also have it really becomes a stimulus package for the economy too. So that's one of the things we really want to drive home. By investing in fathers, the ripple in the pond, not only for the current state of our country, but for generations yet to come.
So what does that look like, Charles, when you talk about investing in fathers? And
great question.
The Dads Matter
Yeah, great question, Denise. So a couple of things. So what we do, I'll talk about from a private standpoint and then from a public standpoint. So for us as an organization, what we've developed is a set of tools and resources and programming specifically for fathers to, like I said, empower them with the tools and resources they need to navigate not just the early stages of fatherhood, but that entire journey, right? Not only that, a safe space to connect with other men. When we talk about the legislative piece, the Dads Matter Act will do similar things. It will create funding and resources for HHS to invest in fatherhood education. If you think about it, there's a tremendous amount of programming for mothers and babies around this topic, as there should be. But the critical piece of that equation that's oftentimes left out is the third part of that trilogy. What is the father, right? It is man, woman, and what? Child. And so we're oftentimes left out. If you think about it, where do dads go for information?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we go down this dark rabbit hole of Google and then we find conflicting information and resources, but there needs to be a place where men can come and get information that is vetted, that is backed by research, and also be able to find community. And we really feel that this will go a long way to drastically improving not only the structure of the family, particularly in the Black community, but it will go a long way to putting, the Trump administration says they want to restore the nuclear family. Okay, we're with you. We want that too. Invest in fathers. We'll show you how this is done.
So, I mean, I understand, putting pressure on the federal government, on Congress and the legislature to move this forward. But then on the state level, I mean, where are you located?
Great question. So no, I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta's home for us, but we work all over the country.
Okay, so what's happening? I mean, what would you want to see, or what would be? I mean, I know that there are initiatives on the ground in certain jurisdictions. I know the district has a couple of programs, and I don't mean to, make it not so substantive, but there are initiatives here in the District of Columbia for fathers. What would you want to see the states do if the feds don't?
That's a great question. I would like to see the states really either match or even invest more resources and prioritize it. And I think that we're seeing some states come to the forefront. And there's also a lot of programs in various communities that have demonstrated tremendous results. And so those are some of the things that we're seeing is there being more spaces uplifted for fathers to come together and understand. Because let me say this, one of the challenges, Denise, that I see is that there's a lot of men, a lot of fathers, and a lot of groups that are doing wonderful work, but oftentimes it's siloed, right? And so the people that are doing great work on the ground in Philadelphia aren't really in connection with the folks in DC or Atlanta or New Mexico, right? So we're also creating opportunities in space for there to be connectivity so that we can duplicate, learn, and kind of figure out. And at the end of the day, understanding that these practices in these spaces and all these resources need to be informed by the community. Because I'm not going to, like, somebody from Delaware can't come and tell me what needs to happen in East Point, Georgia. Does that make sense? Because there's cultural nuances, there's different needs in this community, there's things that are going on. And so being just like in anything, right, that we want to do, we want to be culturally congruent. We want to practice responsible allyship and make sure that we address specifically what the community needs, right? And this is something that doesn't. The other thing too is I'll give you this example. One of the things that I say about being a parent is it really is the great equalizer, right? Is regardless of where you're from, when a conversation starts about your kids, people want to share those photos. They want to tell you what's going on. They want to brag about their kids, whether the baby just graduated pre-K or whether they just got their master's from Howard, right? Everybody, there's a connectivity there, right? And so it really is the universal language. We're hoping that parenthood will really help Americans across the board understand that there's so much more that unites us than divides us.
One of the things that, and you bring to mind, and it's something we probably will follow up on in our publication, but we're located in a part of Washington, D.C., where a child hasn't been born in this ward in years because we didn't have
desert.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a brand new hospital that opened about a month ago, and the first baby was born in the ward about a week or so later. And so that's something the community celebrated. But in addition to that, and we're getting pretty close to out of time. Actually, we were over. But I wanted to find out from you about your paternal centers for excellence. Tell us a little about that before we.
Yeah, I've actually been quietly been plugging that throughout this whole time. So when I refer to the program that we're developing specifically for men, that is exactly what it is. It is the Paternal Centers of Excellence. It is a free app that will be available. I think we're going to be able to release it this weekend, just in time for Father's Day, and you can just download it. It's free. Please, if you are a father, if you know an expectant father, please. That's a free gift that you can share with them for Father's Day. Make sure they have. We want people to be tapped in and take advantage of these resources.
Wonderful. Well, Charles, before we go, tell us a little bit about your boys.
Oh my gosh, man! Now you see, like say you get me to bragging. But so Charles, the fifth is 10 years old. He's smart. He's cool. He's funny. He's an aspiring film director. So next week he's going to go to film camp here. His younger brother Langston is my little giant. He is 9. He is the smallest kid in his class, but he is an unstoppable force of nature that lights up every single room. Very much like his mother, never met a stranger, infectious personality. And I'm just so grateful that they chose me to be their father.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you for being with us and sharing this information. And it's more than information. It's a movement. It sounds like
Yes, ma'am.
launched in the area. You brought to Capitol Hill, and we hope we put the information up for fathers to reach out and be a part of this. And we need this. I understand, like you said, if we got a man in the White House who wants you to have more babies, and talking about a financial, support behind that, then why not make sure that these
Why not make sure they have the best, absolutely the best experience possible?
exactly
The best experience possible.
Thank you, Charles, for being
Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
All right, take care.
Where do you